Oh, hey there. Sorry if my eyes are going back and forth. I am using my phone to video this, and of course the camera's on one end, but the controls are on the other end, and so it pulls my attention away from the camera, so I apologize for that. And I wasn't really planning. This is a bit of a spontaneous video for me, which is why I look a bit of a mess, but you'll be seeing a lot of that on this channel. Because I'm just going to be doing things as they come. And this is a bit of a vloggy update as well. And I'm not really going to be doing a lot of editing on this channel either. I'm just gonna go natural. I'm an old style YouTuber. And I like the old style of YouTube where people would just record things and then throw them up there and let them do it as they, however it was. I love modern YouTube. I love the high production values. I think it's really cool. It's really slick, but that's not me. So, and it's mostly because I don't, I was a graphic designer for 20 years, and I know how to do all that. And I am retired / disabled now, and I just don't want to be dealing with that anymore. So if that's going to be a problem, sad face. I'm sorry. So I'm just setting the expectation here. But hopefully, if you've been sticking around through the videos that I've been uploading, which, as you could probably see, is for the most part old content. You can tell by my hair. I kept my hair really long for a long time. But in 2016, I started to, well, in 2014, I started cutting it really short and going platinum. And then by 2016, I couldn't even deal with it anymore. And I just started shaving it. And not buzzing it, but shaving it all the way to the scalp. And I would let it grow to a certain amount of fuzziness, and then sometimes go platinum and let it kind of get spiky, and I'd do stuff with it. But then when it would get too long, I'd buzz it again. And for the past couple of years, I just can't even do that. I just buzz it all the way to the scalp. So this is quite a bit of outgrowth for me. I think I might be just buzzing it to like a level 1 or 2 for the foreseeable future. Because I do kind of like, it's almost like a little super short pixie. I don't know. So this is let's see, it's April 25th, 2020 as I film this. And Santa Clara County, the heart of Silicon Valley, has been on lockdown, coronavirus lockdown, since mid-March. It's a little over a month. Now, I'm not much of one to go out and about as it is. I tend to keep to myself, especially post-cancer. So it hasn't been a huge lifestyle change for me. The biggest changes are what we do when we come back inside. Once we've been outside, we take off our shoes at the entry and spray them with a concoction. Since we ran out of disinfecting wipes, we created our own, which are alcohol and vinegar and tea tree oil. A lot of tea tree oil and mostly alcohol. And I think I read somewhere recently that mixing alcohol and vinegar is bad. I'll have to find that and double check. We had hydrogen peroxide out too, not knowing that mixing alcohol and hydrogen peroxide makes chloroform, I think. So that would have been really bad if we had thrown that in there and As it turned out, we didn't need to. So we have a little spray. And then my brother, I live with my brother and my daughter in this lovely apartment, beautifully furnished apartment. The cushions are a bit askew, but I mean, it's really lovely. Give you a mini tour here. You can see. Beautiful leather-bound books. Grand piano. Grand piano is a little bit beat up because it's quite old, but it sounds incredible. And everything's just kind of elegant, and because that's my brother's taste, which I don't mind. I like it. And those are the new neighbors. They have a little guy who's just super high energy, and it's so hard for little kids to be inside. I think that's parents of little kids, I think, are the hardest hit by the staying inside orders. People do go out and walk up and down the street, but just we have to do social distancing measures. My mind is wandering, as it frequently does. What I was going to say is we take off our shoes, we spray them, we leave them in the entryway. Then my brother took a whole bunch of t-shirts, old just undershirt t-shirts. We cut them up into little tiny rags and put them in this airtight container along with more of that liquid that we use. And so things that need wiping down, we wipe down. So if we go get groceries or whatever, everything is brought into the entryway, the tile entryway, taken out bags. Everything is wiped down, handles, anything that might have been touched at all, and then placed at the uncontaminated area before being put away. So far, that all seems to be working. Mail gets a quick spritz with the spray, because all the proper disinfectant has been purchased and hoarded. So we had to make up our own. Yeah. And my brother is very high risk. He was a preemie, and he's a twin, and they were both preemies. They were born like a month and a half early, because my mom, she had an abrupted placenta, which means that the placenta detached from the uterine wall, and it slid to the bottom of her uterus, and the two little boys were on top of it, and she was essentially bleeding to death from the weight of that. She was on bed rest with her feet elevated, and that just wasn't enough. They finally had to take her in and do an emergency C-section. And because the little guys were so small, they almost died. They were put in NICU right away. And one of them came home after 2 weeks. I'm trying to preserve their anonymity. I'm not sure why, but I feel like it's important right now. So one came home after a couple of weeks, and I got to know him. He was really cute and sweet, and I would play with him. And then the brother that I live with, his lungs were underdeveloped, so he was in the NICU for quite some time, another 4 weeks or something, maybe a little bit longer, 6 weeks possibly, before his lungs were developed enough that he could come home. But both of them have always had terrible allergies, just bad allergies. Their sinuses are not properly developed. They're small, especially on my brother that I live with. A doctor actually examined him and said, your sinuses are unusually small for a man of your size and age and what have you. And then in addition to that, if anything is going around, he will catch it and he will get pneumonia on top of that. I mean, it's god awful. I feel for him. So if anybody's going to get coronavirus, it's going to be him. And he probably would die from it. So we're all being super, super careful. So I am getting ready to release my EP, The Story of Swallow, after many, many years. The material was all written between 2010 and 2012. I mean, I released I Am Me, Am I Not at the end of 2009. And that was all material that I'd started writing back in from 1993, 92 to 93, no, up to 90, up to the late 90s. The Dream from that album I wrote, I want to say either 91, 92. Miriam the Bull I wrote in 96. Shut Up I wrote in 96. So it was all just material that I had written over a long period of time, because I'm not a fast songwriter. Stuff just kind of percolates in my head and then finally gets big enough that I can like get it out and realize it. Although I can say, if I'm in the mood, I can go, I'm going to write a song today, without necessarily having any preconceived ideas about what that might be, and sit down and bang something out. It almost never happens that way for me. Almost never. So I Am Me, Am I Not took a couple of years, a couple decades to get out, and I finally did. And The Story of Swallow, I was just in writing mode, and for me, 2 years is pretty fast. But then it just languished, and part of the reason I didn't get right on it was that in 2012 I had to move, and then I lived in a situation that didn't feel entirely private, and I'm very self-conscious when it comes to my singing and playing. I really don't like people being able to hear me while I'm working through things. And at that point I had roommates. I wasn't living in my apartment anymore. And I was having income situations and all kinds of things. So here I am, almost a decade later, and I'm finally releasing the material. And it's going to be digital only, and it's not going to be really mastered properly. And I even have questions as to whether or not CD Baby's going to let me release it. I might have to go a different route, because I've lost all the source files and all I have are MP3s. So the mixes, some of them need adjusting, and I can't do it because I lost the source files. I mean, I didn't lose them. I actually have them, but they're on an external hard drive that won't load. And so, I mean, maybe someday I'll be able to get in there and, with some help, have someone get in there with me. But I'm on a fixed income now because I'm retired/disabled. So I just want to get it out. I just want to move on. I'm trying to just like complete old cycles of action and just like move on and just finish things. I just want to finish things. I don't want to have all this stuff hanging out, all this undone parts of my life, you know. I just want to move forward and be whomever I'm going to be now. And I don't know what that is. I don't know what's next for me. but I'm trying to reach it, and the only way I can reach it is if I finish off all the things that I've been before and that I've been doing. So, I've had some questions regarding the name Orion. Firstly, the biggest question is, how the heck do you pronounce that? Is it Orion? Orion? It's Orion, like the constellation, Orion. And I realize that the spelling makes it a little bit less straightforward. There's a story behind it. So, the story of Orion goes way back, and this is a very me kind of thing to have done. And I have a lot of little stories like this, which hopefully I will share with you over the years, and as we get to know each other. And hopefully you'll find them amusing. These stories are meant to be amusing because I think they're ridiculous. And I do a lot of absolutely ridiculous things for no reason whatsoever. Other than that, I find them ridiculous. I'm a very irreverent person, and I'm just ridiculous, and I'm a prankster, and yeah. So, my best friend in late elementary school and through middle school and some high school, I'm not going to give her name, again, anonymity, but she and I, we were thick as thieves, and one summer, this guy moved next door to her, and she kept telling me he was her cousin. And I never really, I should have questioned, like, how is he your cousin? Because she also seemed to have this enormous crush on him. And she also seemed to not really know him that well, but she said he was her cousin. And so he lived next door to her. He had just moved in. It was pretty cute. And so I'm hanging out at her house. We're inside the house. And he comes and knocks on the door. And instead of opening the door, we went to the bedroom window that was right next to the door to interact with him through the bedroom window. It was this long, narrow window. And we're talking, or she's talking to him, and I'm kind of like peeking out from the side. And he looks at me and he goes, "Oh, you must be blah, my name." And for whatever reason, I didn't want him to be presumptuous. And this particular window was in her older brother's bedroom, and he had a map of the stars across one wall. And I've always had some kind of like affinity, attraction, for whatever reason, to the constellation Orion, just because I'm a November baby, and it's like the most noticeable. I'm a Sagittarius, and Orion is very noticeable in the autumn. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw it really clearly. And I don't know, I just decided to fuck with the guy. And I was kind of high and mighty, and I said, "No, I'm not her. I'm her twin sister, Orion. I have twin brothers." And he was taken aback, and he was like, "What? I've never heard about you. Why hasn't such and such ever told me about you?" And she's looking at me going, "What the fuck are you doing?" But she didn't argue with me. She's like, "Okay, we're gonna play a game now. All right, no, okay, I see what you're about." She just kind of let me go, and I said, "No, I'm not her. I'm Orion." And he's like, "What?" And he's looking at my friend, and he's looking at me, and my friend decided to just play along, and she's like, yeah, that's right. I never told you about her because I usually hang out with the other one, and because we're closer. And I'm like, yeah, I just thought I'd stop by today and hang out because I haven't seen her in a while. So then, all summer long, it became a thing, and he kind of believed me. He kind of went along with it. And I would like grab baby pictures of my brothers and show him. And I'd be like, see, this is me. And this is my sister. And he'd be like, well, how come there's no more recent ones? And I'd be like, my dad has all these rolls of film that he still needs to get developed. He procrastinates. Yeah, he's got like 20 rolls of film that he just hasn't developed, and they're sitting around, and I don't know. And that was actually a true thing about my dad, where he would just wait forever to develop rolls of film, and then he'd like take in a whole bunch at one time, and then it was like a big thing. It's like a $50, bill. He would procrastinate on that a lot, but so I just kind of used that. And so then whenever I would be hanging out at her house and he would come by to chat or whatever, his first question was always, okay, which one are you? And I'd be like, oh, I'm such and such. Oh, no, today, oh, I'm such and such. And I tried to have like subtly different mannerisms or subtly different ways of speaking to like help him identify which one I was. I just fucked with the guy. But then and of course, so then the spelling of Orion came out of my desire to have it seem like a girl's name. So it's as simple as that. Orion. Yeah. What do you want? I was 13. But I like it. I like it. And I'm sticking with it. So there. Yeah. So anyhow, I think I'm going to end off this video for now. But I'm going to continue giving you little vloggy things in my bathrobe. Oh, another thing about my bathrobe, you will be seeing me a lot in my bathrobe because my house often is cold, even in like the heat of summer. There's something about this apartment. It looks like a house just because of the way it's laid out, but really it's technically an apartment. This place gets so freaking cold, even in the heat of summer, which is kind of awesome because there's no air conditioning, just because of the way Silicon Valley is. Most places that are older don't need AC because we get this wonderful fog in at night that cools everything down. So this place is freaking cold. I'm usually fully dressed, like street clothes, and then I'll just put my bathrobe on top because it goes all the way to the ankles. It's like a big warm sweater. Where else can you get a big warm fuzzy sweater with long sleeves, deep pockets that goes all the way to your ankles? You can't. You can't. So there you go. So you'll see me in my bathrobe. But I'm not like undressed. I'm not in my pajamas most of the time. I am today. But most of the time, I am fully dressed when you see me in my bathrobe. So, but get used to seeing me in my bathrobe because I'll be doing a lot of these videos in my bathrobe. And on that note, I will be starting up tarot readings. That's something I really want to do on this channel, is doing like Tarot Tuesdays and like weekly readings just to kind of like see, because times are really uncertain. There's a lot of like political unrest. There's a lot of like, well, global pandemic bullshit. I mean, it's just a really crazy time. And 2020, I mean, it's so weird because there's just so much shit. There's so, like, planetary alignments. We've got, like, eclipses happening during, like, supermoons. I mean, it's just crazy, all the stuff that 2020 has lined up for us. So I'm going to want to track some of that with tarot readings just to get a little bit more sense of, like, how do we cope through it? What are our tools available to us? What are some things that may be hidden that need to be revealed, and just kind of help us get through? And I know we're going to get through, but there's a lot of change that we're seeing, or that we're going to see. Additionally, I'm going to be wanting to share my thoughts and opinions. I have a few really big ideas of my own that I'm going to want to share, that I'm going to need your help with to really spread the word and get out there. So please like this video and subscribe. I'm terrible at saying that, but I'm going to have to get used to it. So like this video, subscribe, ring that notification bell so that you can keep abreast of all my doings. And I will see you soon. Much love and blessings to you all.